We are nearing the end of 2024 and iPad mini 6 keyboard cases are a dime a dozen. Before I would have reviewed 3 of them a week, but they sort of dried up. With the release of the mini 7, all the ones with the mini 6 will work with a new one. Maybe some new ones will come out for it, which I will review. I do have this one. It took what was right with the first Hue keyboard and made it so much better. Hey, it's V, let's get started. I picked this up off Amazon for about $60. It's a keyboard case for the iPad mini 6. This will also work with a newly released mini 7 because they both share the same shell. This is from a company called Hue, H-O-U. They are known for making the F22 wing. To me, this is one of the best travel keyboards for the smallest iPad. You take that keyboard, make it a little bit bigger with USB-C, and then you have this one. It has a 400 milliamp battery. It gets about a month or two of usage before being recharged. It doesn't need a specialized charger. Everything charges with Type-C, so the iPad, this keyboard case, so one cable to roll them all. The price point is pretty competitive for the mini 6, mini 7 price range, around $50 to $60 for the sweet spot. Overall, it's pretty familiar with most devices I've reviewed, but it is also a little bit different at the same time. Inside the box is the keyboard itself, the world's shortest Type-C cable to complement the world's smallest iPad. You have the instructions, how you connect everything, the usual paper gear. Overall, you have 3 items, so the unboxings, overall, it's pretty underwhelming. This keyboard case weighs 356 grams. The Mini 6 weighs 293 grams, so they're both pretty comparable. There are the usual cutouts for volume rocker, microphones, and speakers. On top has a slot for the Pencil 2. It will charge just fine, but unfortunately, it does not work with the sleeve. With any device like this, it's all about the kickstand, which it is pretty sturdy and well-rounded. The kickstand can move about 200 degrees up and down on any table surface. Beneath it has a logo for the brand, which feels very Apple-esque. The material, which is a soft touch plastic, feels pretty good overall. Nothing feels cheap or of poor quality. It's not really premium, but it doesn't have a cheap feel to it either. Opening everything up feels well built and well designed. On the bottom has the Type-C charging port. It will charge with Type-C to A or A to C. Any Type-C charging cables will work here. On the top right corner of the keyboard has the LED lights for power, caps lock, or Bluetooth pairing. This will only connect with one device over Bluetooth at a time, so this does not have multi-mode. This will technically work with any device over Bluetooth, so Windows, Android, Mac, pick your poison, this will work. These types of cases are always the best because I love that tearaway design. It just gives so many more advantages than just having a regular Magic Keyboard style case. The tearaway design can either be used in portrait or landscape mode or on any table surface. It's easier to hold it. It just gives better viewing angles in my opinion. I just find the Folio cases like this are really durable and the magnets are really strong. To pair this, all you have to do is hold down the power button for 5 seconds. It will automatically enter Bluetooth pairing mode. This device has to be found on the Bluetooth settings and then connect to it. This has Bluetooth 5.1. It's not the newest one, but it is one of the newer ones. I do occasionally notice a little bit of lag if I'm typing too fast, but that's not really noticeable most days. This keyboard has 3 levels of brightness, 7 different colors to choose from. You just have to hold down the sun/wand button and then it will cycle through each one. You do get better battery life with the backlight off, but that is optional. To change the colors, you just have to hold down the function world button and then you have to press the early morning sun button to cycle through the colors. This does have the standard 7 colors to choose from. There is also a breathing mode at the end, which does cycle through all the colors continuously. I'm not really a fan of this. I find it sort of distracting, so I always keep that off. The backlight is fairly dim. It is viewable at nighttime, but it's not the best next to like a lamp or a TV. On a slightly different note, I did find this case off Amazon for about $8 and it should really be considered. It looks and acts like a normal Folio case from Patika, but for about a fraction of the price. This will work with the iPad mini 6 or 7 because they both share the same chassis. My old one held up quite well for the last 3 years, but it is time to upgrade. I don't like typical Folio cases, which don't attach with magnets, plus I'm not really a fan of what Apple sells. It attaches with magnets, and it's under $10. It has auto wake and sleep, which also has 2 different viewing modes, either in portrait mode or landscape on any desk surface. It's a really slick looking case, and the black here is really solid. Because it attaches with magnets, it doesn't cover up the sides or the corners. Any stylus with a sleeve will work here and charge, so that gets a thumbs up in my book. This is my new daily driver for my Mini 6. I'll toss a link down below where to pick it up. This will also work with a newer one, the Mini 7. It's a well-rounded case overall. The price point is very competitive. It's not super thick or super bulky. It's especially good for artists who like to draw. It's a very good case to really consider, especially for the price point, and it's just one that should really be considered. When snapping the iPad into the case, there's a nice seal around everything to give it a nice secured fit. There are the typical cutouts for everything from the fingerprint scanner, volume rocker, speakers, camera, charging port, microphones. On top, it has a spot for the Apple Pencil. Unfortunately, it will not work with a sleeve. The keyboard will attach to the case with magnets. Like most cases, this does have auto wake and sleep. The battery life is pretty solid. It will get a few months before it needs to be recharged. This case offers decent protection from drops and scratches because it is thick. The kickstand is really solid. It's really sturdy. Whatever angle you think of, this can do, either in portrait mode or in landscape mode on any desk surface. It's also good for people who like to draw on their tablets. Even without the keyboard part, the case itself is pretty solid. The keyboard can be flipped around while attached. This is called tablet mode. The keys will not register at press. This can be used like a regular tablet, just a bit thicker. This is a very good idea for people who don't like to take their keyboard part off and then putting it down. I tend to lose everything I put down. It's a really solid case. It offers features anyone would ever need in a keyboard case for such a small tablet. Getting to the main purpose of this is the typing test. Is a keyboard good, or will it be considered junk like so many others? You have to consider with a smaller tablet, the keyboards do tend to be smaller. It's a compromise with the form factor. HOU tends to make really good keyboard cases, and this one does not disappoint. The keys are nice and clicky, they're not really mushy. It doesn't feel like you're trying to type on mashed potatoes, so that's a very bad experience. But overall, the keyboard is a little bit cramped, but it is workable for the form factor. Every key is spaced out pretty well, but I do have to occasionally hunt for the keys because it's a form factor I'm not always familiar with. This isn't ideal for writing out like a 20-page thesis, maybe a quick reply or a message or a tweet. On average, I can get about 50 words per minute with a few mistakes here or there. I do tend to type a little bit faster after a couple warm-ups. Eventually, I do break 55 words per minute. A few different times I have broken 60 words per minute. This keyboard is on the better side. It's not perfect. I do find the QI keyboard more appropriate, but this does have a nice place in the roster. They both have a similar form factor. They both work about the same, but I do believe they can coexist with each other. At the end of the day, it's a really good keyboard case. It's not the best, but it is up there, easily within the top 5. The QI keyboard runs for about $80. This one runs for about $60. So there is a $20 difference in price point, and who are a little bit more price conscious might want to pick up this one over the QI keyboard to maybe save $20-$30 down the road. For most keyboard cases for the Mini 6 or 7, this does hit all the check marks for most people. It's backlit, it has great battery life, it has USB-C, the build quality is excellent, it has a very well-rounded form factor, and the keyboard is one of the better ones. It's a bit cheaper than the QI one for about $20, $70 from the Doko one, and it's pretty in line with the F22 Wing. That one is the best stealthy case. It does require a specialized cable, and the battery life isn't quite as good compared to the competition. This one hits the sweet spot for being good, but also not too expensive. This would be a great choice for anyone who's looking for a keyboard case for the smallest iPad, who just wants something good. So like always, it's V, stay classy.